everybody, and welcome to this episode of the Black Retreat. I am your host, Mesha L, and I'm here with a very special guest. First of all, this special guest is also special because y'all know how I start the episodes off with how we met. This is actually the first time that we have met.
Yeah, it is.
We can just get right to it. So this is Maria Smith.
Hi, Maria D. Smith.
Maria D. Smith. Excuse me. Don't forget the D, honey.
And the D is for that's right.
The
D is for that's right.
I know that's right.
Mm-hmm.
So, me and Maria, we actually connected through Rayma.
Yeah, shout out Rayma Boston.
Rayma Boston.
Amazing. I love her.
Yes, I love Rayma.
She's the best.
Yeah, she really is.
She's literally just like a walking angel. I love her so much. She peeps everything.
Yeah.
But also is still so graceful and so peaceful and so kind. Like, she knows what's up, but you will never phase her.
And you know what? The fact that, like, you got Rayma down to, like, 3 words, that is exactly how Rayma is. If y'all don't know, y'all need to go back and watch her episode. I think it's episode number 2. Rayma is funny also.
Hilarious.
So, I definitely see a lot of you in Rayma.
Oh, my gosh. We clicked, like, I want to say instantly. Like, I don't remember what the conversation was, but it wasn't too long after that. So we were like,
yeah.
Hey. Like.
So tell me how you and Rayma met.
So Rayma and I met while she was in a writer's colony.
Okay.
And I was working for the company at the time. Like, I was an office assistant. And I was just, attending to the writers. So I had been a part of Writers Colony, actually, the summer of 2022.
Okay.
Right after I graduated with my MFA from Northwestern, I went to join the Writers Colony, and I was one of 4 incredible women writers.
Yeah.
So it was really cool to go from this PWI artistic hub into a Black female culturally rooted space.
Yeah.
And then, it's kind of like, okay, you've done all the instructional stuff, all the scholarly things, but now how do you vibe?
Yeah.
Like, just
like,
kind
now
of
it's time to freak it.
Exactly. So that was cool. It felt like a really big unlearning process. So I had gone through the colony. So now that I was working at the company, I was attending to Rayma as a writer in the colony.
Okay.
So we were just vibing off of just, like, showing up and craft and just vibes, personability.
Yeah.
I mean, because it was at the time when I was serving there, having been through the Rice Colony myself, I was really just, like, intentional about creating space and creating the energy that, like, I know helped me or what I wanted to see while I was there.
Absolutely.
So just welcoming her when she came in and just, like, chatting it up and seeing what was going on, and I don't know, we just became friends.
Yeah.
We just became friends. But I will say, from my experience in it, I had just a different perspective how, like, I wanted to help and engage and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It wasn't much, but it was a great way for me to meet great people.
Yeah.
So,
and when you say, like, you attended to the writers, what do you mean?
Just, like, making sure they had little things that we often take for granted, but are so essential to making sure that we have time and space and energy to get things done. So, like, stocking up on snacks, water, whatever, just encouraging words, just little things. I think that's something that I learned from my grandma, who used to work in, like, the healthcare space. She was, I actually don't know what she did. I don't know what she did.
She just was in healthcare.
She worked at the health department, and that's all I know.
That is so funny. That is such a grandma thing. Like, she worked at the health department. She worked at this department.
Yes,
like,
that's it. That's all I know. But with that, like, if we went to go visit her at work before she had retired, it was just like she was homies with everybody. Like, everyone knew her. Like, they come up there just to say hi to her type vibe. I don't know. And it was like, she wasn't doing. I can't tell you what she was doing. I don't want to say she wasn't doing much, but it's like whatever she was doing, it kept the place afloat. And
I'm
like
so
I
dead.
just embodied that same energy with like, you know what? I'm just keeping this place afloat. Like
Yeah.
I just want to add to the energy. That's
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah.
I want to say me showing up with that experience and those influences, it allowed me to meet great people like Rayma, like Paris, like Latasha, like Tosin, et cetera, et cetera, and then some.
Yeah. And these are all people a part of the colony.
Yeah,
I assume.
that's specifically Rayma's cohort, but the Rise Colony was just a really great community building place. So yeah, it was such a valuable experience that has just helped me foster community in Los Angeles, a place that I wasn't even thinking about. I wasn't even thinking about. I wasn't even worried about, and it's become this. It's become a home. Just. I'm just saying. I still haven't changed my license or my tags. I'm like, I'm from Tennessee.
I was just about to say because you're from Tennessee.
Yeah, but just because I'm like, claim this place? Yeah. Claim Los Angeles as my home? Are you crazy?
How long have you been here?
I've only been here for like a year and a half.
And how do we feel? Are we staying?
No,
are we good? Okay.
I'm here. I pay bills here. Yeah. I voted here. I'm here.
Come on, vote.
I did. I voted. I was like, I don't even know y'all for real, but let me read up on this. Let me see what's happening. I think it was the black female mayor candidate that was on the ballot this go around. I was just looking at some of the reports and stuff on, like, I guess what they're trying to stand on and what they're trying to do, and I'm like, you know what, I think I should vote. I think I should vote out
that was
here.
Me last time. I was like, let me read every single one and get into this because I don't know what's going on here.
I was like, I'm getting the highlights, right? I'm getting the highlight notes. So because I think I had registered to vote like the day before the thing, so I'm behind. I'm just like, but I just feel this urgency to be a good citizen. So I'm like, oh. They giving me the pamphlet. I'm like, yes, let me. And I'm taking forever. I'm taking forever at the little podium thing because I'm trying to read and I'm like going through it. And I'm like, wait a second, I don't know. So if I vote yes, does this mean
exactly
no? Or if I vote no, does that mean yes?
No,
like,
for real.
And the workers were just like, ma'am, just vote.
They say you should have had this together before you got here.
So nobody told you that you could have been so prepared, like you could have been.
And you know what? It doesn't matter because as long as you got it done.
And it got done. And the lady won. So I feel very successful.
Period. Exactly. And you contributed to that.
And I did. So, yeah, I voted here, so I guess it's home now.
Yes, but I imagine that is very important to you because if you guys have not figured out by now, Maria is a writer.
Yes. Okay, so, yeah, we probably didn't say any of that specifically. We didn't say any of that specifically.
But we got time. We're going to get into it.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Great.
So you're a writer. You're also a playwright?
Yes.
Miss Mamas?
Yeah.
So a writer from Tennessee. You know what's so funny about every person that I know from Tennessee? They rep Tennessee so hard.
Yeah.
Like, what is there something in the water? Like, why y'all be leaving if y'all love it so much, huh?
Oh.
Ooh.
Whoa. So
I'm just playing.
I mean, no, that's a great question. You're doing your job. You're doing your job in a really great way. No, I love where I'm from.
Yeah.
In all of its chaos and all of its beauty, it's the place where I was raised and where I found myself, found my calling, and became just so rooted in just my history as a human being.
Yeah.
Like, fun fact about me, my undergraduate university owns the plantation where my earliest ancestor was brought to, and they use that plantation for agricultural research. So, and this is in the state of Tennessee, right?
Yeah.
So that I just having a fact like that, like I'm in the soil, like that's a real cyclical.
Yeah. The fact that you even know that, like, that's amazing.
Well, and it wasn't, I think I had just looked up recent pictures of the plantation, because it's the Ames plantation in West Tennessee. And my family would just talk about it, like, oh yeah, that's when the family was on the Ames plantation, whatever, because we have a lot of like oratory history about just like my ancestors and things, because my mom's people are from West Tennessee, Bolivar, Tennessee specifically, which is outside of Memphis. It is not Memphis. So there's Tennessee and then there's Memphis.
Okay.
And that's with all respect.
Okay.
And the idea is Memphis, Tennessee is its own place. Okay. It is It is a part of Tennessee.
Okay.
And we're so grateful. But it is also its own place. And
you said we don't claim Memphis.
No. That's not what I said.
Oh, okay.
Memphis don't claim us.
Really?
Yes.
I done heard some things about Memphis though.
I love Memphis.
No,
I love it.
That's all that matters.
I love it. And that's why I'm like, I'm just
amazing.
Giving respect where respect is due.
Okay.
Because that's all. But no,
we're just gonna leave it at that.
I promise it's so much respect.
Yeah.
It's so much respect.
That's what's up.
My mom's family is from West Tennessee, outside of there. And Tennessee is a big part of who I am. I think it's really interesting where it stands as a state in like the history of this country. Like, if you think about it, Tennessee is like the most interesting state. Like socially, we're chaotic. We keep the ball rolling. We keep the ball rolling, and it's like
it might be a toss up between Tennessee and Florida.
A little bit. You never know what to expect. Something comes across the news, you're like, this isn't Tennessee.
I usually, my first is Florida, but you know what, Tennessee?
It's a close second.
But you know what? It don't be Tennessee. It be Memphis.
Stop.
Literally.
Stop now.
And I'm not even playing.
Stop now. All right. Well, what I was trying to say was, it's a really interesting place.
Yes.
It's an interesting place. So here you go, right? So Tennessee also has like an HBCU hub, like similar to Atlanta. So specifically in Nashville, there's American Baptist College, Fisk University, Tennessee State University, Meharry Medical College. They're all basically in their own version of University Row, down in Nashville off Jefferson Street. And so like that's unique to me. The Woolworth sit-ins with our man John. Why can't I remember his last name? Good Trouble. You know his name.
I know his face.
Yes.
Represent
John Lewis.
Sorry.
John Lewis. That's his name.
Yes.
John, rest in peace, John Lewis. John Lewis.
Yes.
Yeah, but like the Woolworth sit-ins at downtown Nashville and lunch counters with John Lewis. Unfortunately, the place where like the KKK was founded. Unfortunately, the place where Martin Luther King was assassinated. But also the home of the Fisk Jubilee Singers. Also home of Nikki Giovanni spent time in Knoxville, Tennessee. Usher Raymond was born in Chattanooga, Tennessee. It's like we're a good concoction of good and bad and chaos and niceness. Whiskey.
Yeah.
You know, Dolly Parton. Like I'm just saying, I think where I come from is very unique and vast, and having pride in that, and having pride in like the unique nature of which it comes from.
Absolutely.
All of its flaws, all of its technicalities. All of its wrongs. And all of the revolutionary acts to make those wrongs right. I don't know. I take pride in that. I take pride in the fact that the ratifications and the changes that are coming out of Tennessee that are, being pushed against when they're just morally chaotic and wrong. To see like the political leaders that we're getting out of that, all like the representation, the changes, the initiatives, just all of that comes with the wrong of it. All this like radical revolution that comes with that's a lot to take pride in, right? Like it's absolutely. Like they do some crazy stuff, but have you seen how that same place has responded in return? Like,
you better teach me about Tennessee,
I'm
honey.
Just saying. Also, the state fruit is the tomato.
Time out.
It is.
You know what? Honestly, that's a little chaotic in nature in
right?
itself.
Right.
Just
exactly. It is.
But anyway.
But I'm okay with that because you know what I love? A fried green tomato.
Ew. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry
It's
to the
okay.
South.
It's okay. That's all right.
I don't.
That's all
But
right.
you know what? I'm I'm not a huge tomato fan. Just
It's
it's like
okay.
I eat them, just like the small ones
That's
though.
okay. Some
But it's
people
all good though.
some
But you know
people like
what? Tennessee has produced a lot of amazing things,
this is true.
and
Oprah Winfrey.
most importantly, right now,
Oh.
Maria D. Golds.
Hey.
You know what? I done said I think I said Goldsmith. I done intertwined your freaking Instagram name, which is Wordsmith.
Yes.
Cause I was like, oh my gosh, like this is such a freaking cool Instagram name.
Thank you.
Cause at first I was like, oh, is this her last name? And then I was like,
Wordsmith.
no.
No.
And I was like, Mesha.
No, it's all good. It was crazy. I think I'm pretty gifted at picking a good Instagram handle because when I was in high school, pre Cosby shenanigans, when he was still America's dad, America's grandpa, I know. But you got to bring it up.
Yeah.
So I don't seem like I'm a terrible person.
Yes.
So it was before that. And on Instagram in high school, my handle was Maria Huxtable.
Really?
Yes. And it was pretty dope.
That is.
And to the point where for some reason the high school librarian thought my last name was Huxtable.
No.
Like was getting my records, my school records, and my Instagram handle. She was like, "I don't see you on here." She was like, "I'm confused. Is it your last name Huxtable?" I was like, "No, girl." So like legally, there's this thing called like a government name that I have had since before the internet was accessible to me.
My first question is, how come the school librarian
is following me on Instagram?
Exactly.
I don't know.
I and you were in high school also, like,
yeah.
And you know, we just gonna ease on by. we just gonna let you in the school library and have that little moment.
I was confused.
That's hilarious. But okay, so for school, you went to the University of Tennessee.
Yeah, I went to the University of Tennessee in Knoxville, Knoxville, Tennessee for undergrad. Started off as a journalism major. Growing up in my church, one of these pastors used to call me Little Oprah. So I was like, I guess I'm going to be Oprah. Like, that was what was told to me. But I grew up, like, I knew I wanted to write things down. I knew I wanted to, like, make things. But I didn't have the language to know that I wanted to be a playwright, be a storyteller. I mean, like, I guess I did, but I didn't think of it as a practical means of, like, career. You know, no one's... I don't know. I don't want to say no one is telling the kids that they can be writers, but it's not, I don't know. People don't really give it too much respect.
They don't. Hence the writer's strike.
Hence the writer's strike.
Exactly. Thank God.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So I didn't necessarily grow up thinking about being a writer as the end all be all accessible career.
Yeah.
So, or in a creative way.
Yeah.
Right. I assumed I had to find it in whatever manner was in the boxes that I could check. Do you want to be a journalist? Do you want to be a teacher? Do you want to? Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they just kind of keep it in these really formalized boxes, and you go with that. It's a major. You pick it. You study it. You figure it out. And I enjoy parts of it, like editing and stuff like that. But the frustrating part to me was how restrictive we were when it comes to creating factual stories. News stories need to be facts.
Yeah.
This happened. It happened. And I'm telling you about it.
Yeah.
And it might happen again.
Yeah.
But check back at this day to
Exactly.
make sure that all this lines up again. It's very structured. It's very structured. And that was very frustrating to me because I felt like, especially talking about people or experiences, the very strict technicalities of only keeping the facts, which is necessary.
Yeah. When it's necessary.
Yeah. It made me, I was like, but we're not feeling it. We don't know who it is.
Yeah.
Like, I always say journalism is like the dog died, the dog is dead, the funeral's on Monday. So, but then, and my frustration was, well, what was his name? Like, did he have any extracurricular activities? Like, what did he love? Like, what is this? How did he make people feel? Like, and
meat.
And like you can add that to journalism, right? It's a very specific lane for things, but we were really learning how to just keep it practical, keep it short, keep it factual, informed, do not have a specific point of view. Like you have to keep it subjective, like or not subjective but objective,
like neutral.
Yes, like just, and I understood it and I respected it, but I hated it.
Yeah,
because I because I was just like, this just feels like a very bare bones structure to life. And I had grown up like writing skits and stuff. I used to watch like In Living Color and stuff with my cousins growing up. And it was just really fun to me how they were taking society at that time and putting it in conversation with this like chaos of like Wanda or just and Fire Marshal Dan or like, you know, all that kind of stuff. All that like, you know. And so between all that and Living Color, I feel like me and my cousins, or me, I don't want to speak for them. I feel like I just brought them into stuff. And they're like, fine, if we are going to do this one time and don't call us again. Like,
that's what cousins are for, though.
Yeah.
The shenanigans.
But it was fun.
Yes.
It was fun. So, but I think between those two, you see someone putting like real life in conversation with like celebrity references, parodies, all this kind of stuff. And then you also see these kids doing it as well, character work, existing in high stakes, all this kind of stuff. It just was like, oh, okay, like we can do it too. But then I don't know, there was a disconnect between, yes, you can grow up and you can do this and have fun as kids, and you can do this and like love your life as an adult. So there was a disconnect there for me. I didn't think that was I didn't think the things that made me happy in childhood could translate into like a sustainable life as an adult.
And a lot of parents don't think that either.
Right. Well, I think it's all a matter of like trying to keep us safe, right?
Yes.
They just want to make sure we can pay our bills.
Exactly.
They want to make sure that we are able to leave something behind, like create a legacy. So I get it.
Yeah.
But I do think it's a growth process on both ends.
Yeah.
Like they have to be able to expand their minds as far as like how to perceive the world and how it's changed and like what careers do look like now.
Yeah.
And then we have to be brave enough to, even if they don't understand it, do it anyway.
Yeah.
And not out of a form of disrespect, but out of just like, you know, I see this. I'm very in tune with like what I feel like I'm supposed to be doing right now.
Exactly.
And if follow me and we'll figure it out together. But like, I gotta stand on this, and you gotta stand beside me.
Exactly,
and that's the best way for it to work.
I think, because that's literally like the foundation of this podcast in itself. Because I was like, I want to reach people who think that these jobs are not attainable, or realistic. And I'm like, it's very much so. It's just not people talking about it very much. Because even when I came. When I came, it was like, well, what you gonna do? Because I got my degree, I got my bachelor's in English, and then it was automatically like, oh, so you're gonna be an English teacher? And I'm like, no, I don't really even like kids that much. Like, so I'm like, no, I like kids, but not in a school setting. It's a lot. Like, it is a lot. And I was a substitute teacher for a little while, so I was like, this is not for me, because I ended up getting my master's degree in screenwriting.
Oh, amazing.
Yes. So, and you also got your master's.
Oh, so sorry, I went on this like long tangent.
You are totally fine. I love a tangent. Come on. I'm just here to
Tori, chop it up. Chop it up, Tori, please. My bad.
No, you're fine. You're totally fine.
So I went to the University of Tennessee in Knoxville. Started off as a journalism major. Hated it.
Hated it.
Switched to English. Had a minor in Africana Studies. Could have like also had a minor in like theater and Spanish and stuff like that. But I had switched my major spring semester of junior year. So
hey, when you know, you know.
I was just like pushing to like get all my electives in so I could just at least, you know, graduate fulfilled and knowing that I picked something that I actually liked and not settle for.
Yes.
So, but when I started studying when I started studying English at the University of Tennessee, I also ended up taking a lot of theater classes, a lot of Shakespeare overlap and stuff like that. I took a Caribbean literature class and just like the fiction or the elaborate nonfiction and like the plays and stuff like that were considered to be English studies gave me the details, the meat, the perspective that I
Mm-hmm.
wanted journalism to have.
Yeah.
Like, I guess I grew up watching Nightline with my mama on Fridays. So I was like, ooh,
Yeah.
ooh. And I thought we was gonna get into that, and they're like, "Go report on this new fire hydrant that they just put downtown." And we're like, "So in other news,
Like,
there's a new fire hydrant in front of the CC's Pizza."
like the video of the puppies, like, oh, and here's these
Yes,
puppies
yes,
running around.
yes, yes. So
Boring.
yeah, very, very. So,
But so you ended up,
so
so your transition from Tennessee to LA, how's that been for you?
it's been cool. So okay,
Mm-hmm.
I had some leaps along the way. So
Mm-hmm.
I graduated from University of Tennessee in 2018,
Mm-hmm.
and I initially got accepted to go to NYU to get my master's in performing arts administration.
Okay.
And I had kind of just made up in my mind, like, oh, I'll just be in the administrative part of art. Like, I'm not going to try
I was about to say, because
and
what
be
does
an
that mean,
artist.
performing arts administration?
Just kind of like helping with a lot of producer roles, like
Mm-hmm.
marketing, connecting, or networking,
Mm-hmm.
producing,
Mm-hmm.
events, content, fundraising, so just like
Yeah.
the real technical bits and pieces that
Mm-hmm.
keep establishments afloat. Like,
Yeah.
and art is an establishment. I think we think that it's just like, oh, the actors love it, the writer
Yeah.
loves it, the director loves it. It's like, no, people have to like get paid. There has to be promotions. There's all this fine lines and business behind it,
Yes.
just like anything else.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just gonna, I was like, cool, let's do that. And it
Mm-hmm.
was, I was excited to go to New York because New York was like the biggest city I had ever seen. And so I was just like, yes, this is the big, like,
Yeah.
I want to be a part of the biggest place in the world.
Yeah.
Like, this is amazing. If I can make it here, I can make it anywhere.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I was like, but at the same time, even though I said, like, oh, I'm not going to try to be an artist for real, I still had thoughts in my mind of like, well, I can like try and go to like a off Broadway audition like in my spare time. Like, I can figure it out. I can might find a little scene or whatever. So there was still a nugget,
Mm-hmm.
a mustard seed of like that still in me.
Yeah.
But I was convincing myself that like I was just gonna
help out.
Yeah, I was just gonna play it safe.
Mm.
But the way that God works,
Yes.
Even though that seemed like the best plan in the world to me, everything I was trying to do to get there and make it and solidify it, like solidify housing and stuff like that, was falling through.
Yeah.
So I didn't get to go. And I was so heartbroken because I was like, well, that was my only move that I had in my toolbox of becoming a real adult. What do I do now?
Yeah.
Like, that, it was really my only plan that I had really just considered.
Okay.
And it didn't work out.
Mm-hmm.
It was soul crushing.
Mm-hmm.
It really broke my little heart. Like, it broke my spirit because I was like, well, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
I wasn't taking myself seriously. I'm like, girl, you couldn't even get to New York. Like, grow up. Like,
shut up.
That was my biggest critic. And
Yeah.
I just was like, I'm not doing this right. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
But I ended up in a panic. I was like, well, I applied to this other school. Like, I'm gonna just go here. And I ended up going to Belmont University and getting my master's in English Lit and creative writing.
Mm-hmm.
And it helped me find some more direction.
Okay.
So it wasn't my first plan, but it was the necessary plan because I was getting into, more literature, more genres. So like a genre that I really love thanks to that program is the like post-colonialism fiction, just like talking about, or post-colonialism, pre-colonialism, like just this fiction that really talks about like what life is like before and after your life gets invaded by these people that think they know what's best for you. Like, colonialism is just loud white people trying to yell in your face and tell you that you like it. So
come on and break it down then.
So,
because if you really want to know,
yeah. So I enjoy reading like books and content about just like how either fictionalized or adaptations or whatever, just like how life has changed or what's adapted or what life is happening in the meantime.
Yeah.
Like, white people are invading spaces all the time.
Yeah.
Or like, this upper 1% like capitalistic driven people, they're always doing this, right?
Always.
But there are people existing in the midst of it anyway.
Yeah.
And so and that was the kind of stuff that I felt like journalism was supposed to do. Journalism was supposed to tell me about the little man that we overlook in this bigger conversation of war, to make me then understand why the like war itself is so cataclysmic. Like, it's supposed to help me understand like how this affects all totalities of the world, because I'm understanding this one person. And to be fair, I feel like journalism does do that, but I wasn't finding my way into it. And who knows, I think given the right topic, I would put on a journalism hat and like, you know, do the research, do the finds and stuff like that. But at the time, it just wasn't feeding me. I wasn't finding the thing. But
so do you feel like that's why? Well, I imagine your writing is very rooted in intersectionality.
Yeah, for sure. Because I learned when I was getting my master's at Belmont about how much I cared about the characters that I was reading, and like just their intricate natures and all that kind of stuff, and just the overlaps, and being in these like formalized Africana studies classes, literature classes, we're talking a lot about intersectionality and like just the Black female existence, or the Black femme existence, the Black humanity as a whole, and just like all these different layers on top of it that can't just be reduced to Black. Or, you know,
because they will try.
It's just like it's just so much more to it. So diving into that with just like these formal pieces of literature made me want to see it in, you know, more just like day-to-day entertainment, and just like what all that can encompass. And especially when it comes to the Black narrative, like outside of the places that we expect to hear from. So like Los Angeles, Atlanta, Chicago, New York, you know what I mean? Like and that's another reason why I stand so hard for Tennessee, right? Like no one's talking about like Black people in Tennessee.
But the Black people in Tennessee.
So it's like I just feel obligated to make sure that people know that we exist.
That's one of the things that I loved whenever I went when I got my MFA. I think that's when it hit me, and I was like, wow, like there's so many different people from different places, and like this is how we get the different stories from the different people from the different places, obviously, because I'm like, there's people in here from freaking Egypt, there's people in here from Australia, from wherever. Everybody was from everywhere, honestly. And I'm like, and this is how you get those stories out. But it's crazy because like a lot of times those are not the people that are being chosen to put the stories out, and then journalism. So
right. So
yes, so it all like interconnects with this nonsense of like there's only this one agenda being pushed forward, and so I think that's why it's super important for writers like us from the Midwest and the South to do these things, and that's what's up though. And so you're a writer, and you're also a playwright.
Yes, so I'm right. Okay. So I got into. I've actually, in some way or another, have written plays my whole life, and was inspired by my grandma, who was a playwright. She didn't see. This is also health department grandma. Yes.
Come on, health department grandma. Yes. Shout out to health department grandma.
The First Lady Helen Messenger.
Come on. Come on, First Lady. We love a First Lady. Yes.
Hats and all. Yes.
Come on. And I know she was fine.
Absolutely.
Stepping.
Yes.
Stepping in church. Yes. Okay. But
So that was her I guess initiative that she took as a first lady of a church. So she was, you know, community programming, events, stuff like that. She was like, "Oh, I'm gonna put on a play."
Yeah.
And I just remember it being so bold because she had this thing called the Mother's Day breakfast or something, and she would have it every year. And so this play would be a part of the thing every year, and it was a saga. and it was, I don't remember the name. I just remember it just being so dramatic, and it was taking a lot of like real world stuff and like putting them in conversation with like spirituality and stuff. So like one of my great, and then that's another thing, it was real Shakespearean too, and I'm just like, Grandma, what were you on? Like, what's happening? So because it was real Shakespearean because it was like this all female cast. But they're also playing like the men and all that kind of stuff. So it's like, it's so like one of my great aunts would play the no good man, and they would like tape some yarn on top of her lip as her mustache and like put a hat on her, like stuff all her hair underneath. It was like, and so.
Was it hilarious, or did it just like make sense? Like, oh, we get it. Like,
it was a little bit of both. It was a little bit of both because I it's crazy, but I do also believe that this is a no good man. I'm like, dang,
him and that mustache.
Yeah, I'm like, I forget. I'm like, wow. This is crazy. Like, somebody get him out of here.
Somebody get him out of here.
Like, I want to fight him. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's my auntie. I'm so sorry.
But
like,
plays be like that, though. Like you get so into it.
You get into
it. And that's it.
And so they had this saga of a play every year, and there would be different. They would be like, last year on, like, they'd catch you up with what's happening in characters and stuff like that. And they would be talking about real stuff. Like, I remember at one point, like, one of the characters was like, well, you know, I'm bisexual and you're just gonna have to deal with it, or something like that, like talking about sexuality and stuff. And so then you had these Christian based women in here like seeing content that was like worldly in conversation with like faith and all this kind of stuff. Now what the outcome was as far as like the conversation between the parent and stuff, I don't recall. I just remember like hearing that this was part of the conversations that she was trying to have. And I was just like,
and that is real. And you're right, that was bold. And for the first lady to be putting it on.
And she's like, that's the play. So shout out to my grandma. Shout out to my grandma. I'm her namesake, actually. So it was when I actually started taking writing plays seriously, she was like she was so excited. She was like, I was wondering who was gonna pick it up. Like, and I'm so happy that it's you. I was like, thanks.
She said, my baby.
Literally.
She said, I gave it to you to have.
Literally. And so I would call her and we talk about writing and stuff sometimes. I'm like, I can't get nothing on the page today. She's like, that's okay. Like, you know, it'll come to you. She was like, you probably need to rest. She was like, you can't force it. If you force it too much, you're just going to hate it. So just like, vibe out.
Rest is so important, though.
So important.
And shout out to her for being so ahead of her time.
Very.
Like that. That is shocking in the most beautiful way, though. Like the fact that she can lead you in that, and then a whole church full of women. That's a big deal.
And like, it's like mothers and daughters too. So like the content is trying to also kind of create this intersectionality between these generations, having these conversations about like how things are different, how sex is perceived in this generation and versus this generation over here. Like, it's just she was doing things, and I didn't realize how big of an influence that was. It's like it's been in front of my face the whole time. And it just kind of had to like throw me off my bike for me to like realize it. Because like I thought I was riding my bike to New York, and then God was like, please, like, wake up.
Because you were mentioning to me earlier that like that was the goal. But then the bottom kind of fell out of all that. And then you. And how'd you even, you know what, we never even ended up in LA.
We haven't even ended up in LA yet. We haven't even ended up. I'm like, girl, I went up the street. I went up the street to college, and I drove back the street down.
I love it though.
Home.
Like, baby, this is a story, okay?
Oh
this is a storyteller, and this is how it goes, y'all. This is real life. No.
I hope so.
No, because the journey to get here is long.
It is. It is
long.
And I have felt like I've been losing my mind. because of like you can't predict how it's gonna go. But someone's journey that I've really been admiring is Victoria Monet's. Like,
first of all, shout out to Miss Victoria Monet for her 7 Grammy nominations, and also shout out to Hazel Monet for being the youngest Grammy nominee ever. Miss Thang, and on a song with Earth, Wind, and Fire.
At that.
Like,
it's legendary all around.
Legendary. Shout out to the girls.
Shout out to her. Shout out to her.
Yes, but go ahead.
So, but yes, her journey is very inspirational to me because she had been. I was listening to a Sirius XM interview with her, and her journey is so inspirational because she has been doing this for like 10 plus years or so, and has just been doing all aspects of the journey. It is what it sounds like when it comes to being a singer, songwriter, performer, where it's like songwriting for other people, or like, you know, creating music that, you know, you end up, you might want to keep, but you have to give to somebody else, and just like trusting the ebbs and flows of the process, and maybe getting more into dance at one point, and then, you know, maybe doing a lot of background at one point. I don't know. It just, and I can't draw her map for her, right? Like, this is just from stuff that I've heard. I would love to say that I was a day one Monet fan. I'm new to the wave, and I'm so grateful to be on the wave. But it's like, if I can only imagine what her journey was looking like for her to now, you know, be on this, maybe what, her 5th or 6th, like,
I'm not sure. I became a fan during sorry guys. I became a fan during Ass Like That. That was
yes.
And I was like, who is this girl?
Yes.
I said, who's this? And then I found out that she was like writing for Ariana.
Yes.
And I was like, oh.
Yes.
Oh, she's that girl.
Yes, exactly. So I don't know. Either all that to say, she's done things.
Yes.
And she's just now at this, she's now been embraced in like all of this light of like what she deserves. Like the Grammy nomination is no surprise. Like, 'cause she's been doing the work. She's been doing the Grammy nominated work, even if it hasn't been hitting her directly.
Exactly.
So, but her journey of just being persistent and all this kind of stuff, from what I've learned about her, has been really, really great and admirable. And like, I don't know, it's like her wins right now feel very personal.
No, for real.
Yeah.
Every single one of them. Because I'm like, oh, excuse me. Tori, edit that out.
Tori. Thank you.
And you better. But no, I feel like just watching her rise and then knowing that she knew that it was always going to be like this. Even though people didn't know her at first. And to be honest, that is the type of stuff that I pay attention to a lot because it is personal. Because coming up myself, and I'm like, I talk about this quite often, but starting is so humbling. When nobody knows you, when you feel like you're just grinding in silence, your head is down, and it's like, who am I doing this for?
They ask me what I do it for.
Literally.
I come up with this in the studio. He don't even give an answer. He's just like, I just know what I want for my birthday.
I was about to, and you know what? I literally never even thought about it until this moment when you were singing it, and I was like, there's actually no point to that, because who do you do it for? For the birthday person, or like what? I won't say it because my parents will be like, Mesha, why would you say that?
I know.
But
I know.
honestly, 2 Chainz. Anyway.
I love them. I do love 2 Chainz.
But yes. So, I don't know. I can definitely see how your career could mirror Victoria's or anybody's for that matter, because just, you know, trying to get to where you're going.
Right.
And just being a storyteller.
And like you said, you're like, we're not even in LA yet. I was like, no, I know. I know. When I tell you, like, so like you said, starting was humbling. Going back home, staying at my mama's house, like working, balancing jobs, taking odd jobs, was very like, I was very confused and just like, oh, okay, like what am I doing? I had grown up with a lot of life spoken over me, a lot of expectations that I either internalized or were, you know, sometimes placed on me. And so with that in mind, I thought I was supposed to be 23 and like out here just like making it work, like whatever I'm doing, I'm top of my game, like book an appointment to speak to me, like, and it's like, no, I'm very accessible, like, I'm not busy. I'm not
Said,
busy.
I'm just at the house.
I'm just at the house. I'm just at the house. I'm not even doing anything. And so I was my own worst critic as far as just like trying to figure out what was my pace, like what was going on, like why am I behind, like just in my head, just really beating myself up, but then also still trying to take the steps forward. So I'm grateful for my master's that I got at Belmont because it showed me how much, like I said, characters that are true and human, like how important that is. And I really got to that conclusion after doing this project on Handmaid's Tale. And I put the book, the movie, and the show in conversation together. And I talked about how in the show, Samira Wiley's character, if you track that character from the show to the movie to the book, like if you tracking all of it, you'll see like it's not until the show that we see how devastating this society can be, because you are seeing what it looks like for this patriarchal dictatorship to affect a queer, black, masculine presenting woman. And that's a world that's very specific to, and so it's going to have different tones of misogyny, different ideas of privilege and accessibility. Like it's just gonna look different.
Absolutely.
So I tracked that the character was like, oh, how this is how it reads in the book, this is how it's coming off in the movie where all the people are white, this is how it, and just having that focus and like tracking down, like I don't know, it just felt like to do something with that much intention can really change a perspective.
Yeah.
Because Handmaid's Tale itself is written out of the fears of what our society can become without, considering women as human beings.
Yeah.
So, and we've seen that with like the overturning of Roe versus Wade and stuff like that. So the book wasn't too far off.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it wasn't too far off. But then you have a different relationship with that book not being too far off when you then see someone who looks like you, or someone that you care about, or like a perspective that you can relate to for the most part.
Yeah.
In it, then you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
If you didn't care before, you care now.
Right.
Because you're like,
now I got a problem.
It's too close to home.
Yeah.
It's knocking at my door, like, and I think if you can create work that does that, you're then, helping society see itself evolve, change, grow, develop, evolve in ways that go beyond just having a good time.
For sure.
I like when I watch something and it's still in conversation with me.
Yeah.
And I'm referencing it to like understand my world in real time.
Yeah.
And so I just thought it would be really cool to participate in things like that. And it's creating the worlds, creating the characters, putting them in a specific environment that would cause for them to, respond in certain ways. Like Kansas City mannerisms are different from Tennessee mannerisms.
Yeah.
And what does that look like when those are in conversations? Like, I don't know, just really taking on the possibilities of the world and putting them into, I don't want to say unpredictable conversations, but like, just things you haven't seen yet. Yeah. Like, just creating worlds that could influence your own world. I was like, oh. Like the light bulb went off. And I was like, this is the thing. This is the thing. Like, this is what they're doing. Oh.
Like, I want to do that.
Yes. I'm like, it finally makes sense. Like, because if you add B plus C and then you put it here.
Yeah.
It's a writer. And
yeah.
That's what I ended up leading into. And during that time, I was like doing this internship with the Nashville Repertory Theater. Shout out to the Rep. And I was talking about this program I had been looking to online at Northwestern, writing for stage and screen, and the website had some Black people on it. So I was like, okay, cool. Looks like a cool thing.
Yeah.
I didn't know what a Northwestern was before I actually got there.
Yeah.
So I was just like, looks cool. Let's figure it out. And it turned out that someone I was working with at the time had a friend who went through the program. So things started aligning for the same things that started falling out from under me when I was trying to get to one location. Yeah. Seemed to effortlessly put themselves together going in a different direction. And
you know how God is.
Yeah.
He's intentional.
Intentional. And I really think aspiring comedian.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I think when
Aspire. No, he is.
do you know what I
He's
mean?
one.
And I only say aspiring because he's like and you're like I get it.
Like I knew that you already knew, but you ain't have to play me like that.
I'm like it's only funny because I'm here now.
But it wasn't funny
It
a month ago.
wasn't funny, and while
No.
I was in it, I wasn't laughing.
Mm-mm.
And he's like, "That was so funny." You got it.
Remember we were going through that.
Remember when we were doing that, and you like cried,
Yeah.
and it's like, bro.
He like, bet you believe me now, huh?
And I'm just like, okay, if that's how you want to
yes.
orchestrate this relationship. So, yeah, that got me to Northwestern. The friend she hooked me up with helped me with my application. Wasn't really familiar with screenwriting, hadn't formalized myself as a playwright. Like I was just experimenting with the art form, seeing what could happen.
Yeah.
And at first I got waitlisted, and then I got in. And I remember I got called and I screamed, and my mom was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "I'm moving to Chicago." She was like, "Okay," but also mind you, the pandemic has sprung. I moved to Evanston, Illinois, Chicago adjacent.
Okay.
In August of 2020.
Okay.
Or September of 2020. I formally moved in, and I'm in this program that's supposed to be so exciting, but the world has shut down. And even me moving to Evanston at the time, which was like, I can't say that it was this.
Yeah.
Can't say it was a bad decision. I can't say it was a smart decision. I can just say it was made.
Okay.
Because like it was a whole pandemic. I don't know.
Hey, I had just graduated when the pandemic started.
Yeah.
So feel you.
It's like life was still happening. It was weird. It was like, do you do it? Do you not? And I'm like,
Yes.
I'm gonna just do it and see what happens.
Exactly.
If I get up here and this was not what I was supposed to do, at least we did it.
Yes.
At least we can say something was like I can trace my steps and see like what happened for me to get here. So I guess overall it was just like a really scary decision to make because the times of the world, and then also just like the idea of like being artists.
Yeah.
Full time.
Yeah.
So but I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna do it. And so I moved into a studio apartment up there.
Yeah.
And it was truly great. It was like I was just in like my own little artist incubator because I'm doing online school. I'm in my studio apartment with my plants. Like I'm just vibing. I'm growing my hair out. I had locks at the time. It was giving art school for sure.
Come on. For sure.
It was giving art school.
The locks and the plants.
And my locks were green. So it was very giving Maria
art
the tree.
School combo.
I want them back. I want to get back to
Do
that.
you?
It was a vibe.
Because I like this too.
Thank you.
But I ain't never seen a lock, so.
Different vibes.
Yeah.
We'll see. But that was a really great time. My cohort, I feel like we were perfectly cast. Like, and I say cast because everyone's so specific and so talented and has so much to offer. Like, you couldn't help but grow in your process of writing. I learned how to workshop with them in the best possible way as far as like really taking what works and leaving what doesn't. It was such a formative experience, and it really put me in conversation with the industry as far as just like learning about technicalities and networking and entry level opportunities and stuff like that. So I think it was definitely essential to my experience, and it kind of helped practicalize. Is that a word?
I feel like it came out really smooth. So whatever.
It kind of helped it kind of helped to make the career of an artist seem more practical to my support system, which was very practical. If you had this like validating network of people to kind of be like, yeah, like no, we've studied this, like this, like. You know, it's kind of like my references to prove that like I can make a living.
Yeah.
And so that was really important too. I mean, of course, sometimes you just have to do stuff without people being on your side or understanding the vision.
Yes, you
but
do.
It has been very helpful and a insurmountable blessing to have like my family really support, you know, what I'm trying to do, what I'm trying to get at. So I'm just really grateful, and I'm grateful for school for kind of just showing them
Mm-hmm.
helping my opportunities make sense to them, because my mom is an educator her whole life. And so when I'm like, see, I got a scholarship to go to school to do this, she's like, ah, heard.
She said, now I get it. It's
yes,
making sense.
yeah. She's like, got it.
Yep.
Cool.
Heck yeah.
But what's crazy is I remember in the 3rd grade saying, like, I don't want to be a lawyer because you have to go to school for 8 years.
And was in school for 45 trying to be a writer.
Yeah.
It happens.
I did 8 years of school straight through.
Yeah.
Which is chaotic. I would not advise.
No.
I would not.
Because mine was not straight through. Oh, Jesus.
So I feel, so now being in LA, getting to the point, oh my gosh.
We are now in LA. Come on.
Oh my gosh. But then again, it's been 8 years. So
it's been
like
8 years.
That's been.
We went through 8 years in 30 minutes. Like, we had to.
I'm like, I feel like it should have been 5.
This is your story.
Let me chop it up.
I don't tell you what to do.
Like,
nobody else does.
I feel like everyone else is like, hey, Mesha, so bing, bang, boom.
No, everybody's different. We don't compare.
That's true. Comparison is a thief of joy.
Exactly.
And your race is your own.
Mm-hmm.
So that's that on that. So now in LA.
Now we're in LA.
Mm-hmm. Having done like eight hard years.
Yes.
8 years of hard time. Lockdown. Lights out.
Yes.
I feel like I'm regaining my freedom. I feel like I've earned it.
Yeah.
To a certain degree. I'm like existing in the latter half of my 20s out here, which is really fun and exciting.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't my plan. I had just gotten the opportunity to go to Writers Colony right after graduation.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, let's go. Like, let's just move. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
And it really was just me following the flow, like just not trying to force anything. And that's something that I'm still learning how to do. I make it sound effortless in that moment, but that was really a very chaotic time.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. It was a very chaotic time. My grandma, Lady Helen Messenger, had passed.
Yeah.
June 5th of 2022. I graduated June 13th of 2022, and I moved to Los Angeles the 15th. And I think I started the colony on the 17th or something like that.
How was it?
It was a lot.
Yeah.
It was a lot going on, and it was so I kind of had no choice but to go with the flow.
Yeah.
Because it was very fast.
It was just happening.
There was nothing I could do.
Yeah.
There to stop the flow or make it slower or make it faster. Like, I just had to flow. And so I'm realizing the pattern of kind of having to submit to, not kind of, but having to submit to the will of God, the order of the universe, however you want to phrase it. I personally choose Jesus.
Yes. Let's say it's Jesus in this house, honey.
I personally choose Jesus the Christ.
Yes.
But yeah, just learning to submit, because that was a really chaotic time that I had to just trust that, if I'm getting access to this opportunity, and my resources are lining up. I had like a grant from the university to pursue a project or a opportunity, so I was able to put that money towards, transitioning out here and stuff. Everything was just lining up.
Yeah.
Like I said, in a way that the first opportunity was not. This was the second time, so I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna follow. I'm gonna see what happens. So, if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have met Rayma.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
So, it's worked out.
Yeah.
It's worked out so far.
Yes, absolutely.
But it is really crazy. Not crazy, but it makes you understand the concept of time when I'm like, all of that has happened.
Yeah.
30 minutes of 8 years and 30 minutes has happened.
Yes.
And I'm still very new.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for my experiences and my education and my opportunities.
Yeah.
I'm still nowhere near where I envision in my head.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's frustrating, sometimes that's liberating.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. Do you feel like you're successful?
I feel like I feel like I'm learning to accept that I am successful.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think, like I said, where I want to be versus where I'm at, not two completely different places. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like they're lining up.
Yeah.
And it's closer than I think. But that expectation, with that expectation in mind, I feel like it feels like a yes or no question when it really is like accepting the success I've already acquired and like the things that validate me for me, and not even just out of an external thing of validation, but a thing of like knowing and affirming myself and like me just pursuing it.
Yeah.
And there's success in that. There's success in me knowing myself well enough to take opportunity and to trust God and to and just to continue to live life, to have confidence enough to live the life that I've been given. Is, I think, success in itself. Because I think to betray what you're supposed to be here for is more work, and it ultimately delays what you're supposed to be doing, right? So there's success in just feeling and knowing that I'm in alignment to where I'm trying to be.
Okay, shoot. I love that. First of all, I love that it was the one question and we did go through the 8 years. But I think that stories like that are so important though. And to be honest, I've been sitting here like this is the first time that has happened. But I love that because I feel like you truly broke down like the journey to get here, and that is the essence of who you are.
Yeah.
Every single step that got you to be here into the person that you are. And when you come back and you tell me the second part of the story,
I'm like, there's another?
There's another.
There's another?
When you create the next part.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited about that. And I'm so glad that Maria D. Smith, the player.
Hey, don't take it personal.
Hey, I don't know.
Don't take it personal.
Maria D. Smith, the writer and playwright, got to come here and tell her story.
Oh my gosh, thanks. I feel like you had so many questions.
No, it doesn't even matter.
I feel like I messed up your program. You should ask your questions.
First of all,
Tori, cut the tape.
We go with the flow here, but I am gonna ask my last two questions, which I ask every single one of my guests.
Yeah.
Because you're not getting out of here without answering these two questions.
Okay.
So
okay.
Okay, so real life though, I don't want you to feel any type of anything about that. Like I think that this was extraordinarily beautiful.
Okay.
Like I do, and you're a writer. Like I don't expect anything else. Like, get out of here.
Okay, cool.
No. Okay, so my last two questions. The first one.
Okay.
What is your personal motto?
Honestly, it's a Muhammad Ali quote.
Come on now.
And it's
the greatest.
The greatest. And it's low-key aggressive, but I feel like you have to be that way.
Yeah.
You have to be that way when you're pursuing what you want. So, Muhammad Ali once said, if you even dream of beating me, you better wake up and apologize.
Ooh! I ain't never heard that one. I ain't never heard. I know that's...
He said, don't even dream it.
Girl, I have to put that one in my artillery. That one is good. I know that's right.
Yeah, and it just kind of keeps some audacity about you. Just
yes.
Yeah, like you might not think I'll get you, but I will. And it's not even you. It's not even you. It's more so any doubt that creeps in my mind.
Yes. I know that's right. Shoot. Well, anyway, hell, I'm scared to ask the last question. No. Okay, so last question. If you could teach a master class on anything, what would it be?
A master class. That
Mm-hmm.
means I have to be a master at something.
Bye.
I'm just like, okay. A master class. Ooh, probably on vision boards.
Ooh.
I'll probably do a master class on like vision boards and just like crafting the world that you want, like
Mm-hmm.
taking inspiration from quotes and pictures and all those
Mm-hmm.
kind of things, and like challenging yourself to be the most audacious version that you can be
Mm.
through like this form of like crafting.
Yeah.
Because I think it's interesting how you really get to see yourself in different lights based off like what you pull from. Like
Mm-hmm.
you might like this type of art or this like type of language, or
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, and it's just so interesting to see what everyone can create with like the same resources, but they're
Yeah.
totally different, like
Yeah.
using the same magazines, scissors, glitter, whatever, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like yours is gonna be completely different than mine.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
but then also like challenging you to like make it as specific to you as possible so you can like
Mm-hmm.
then understand yourself a little better.
Yeah.
I have this planner. It's called the Christian Planner.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Shameless plug. I don't got no money, no endorsements, but they're a really cool company because they're faith driven. So
Mm-hmm.
they have room for you to do your devotionals and stuff at the top of every week,
Yeah.
with like scriptures and stuff throughout. But at the beginning of the year, they have this opening for you to create a vision board
Mm-hmm.
for your year, and I think it's really cool, the placement and everything, because you open your journal to like plan one of your days, but
Yeah.
then you see this idea, this vision
Mm-hmm.
of what you want for in long term, like
Yeah.
in at the end of the year or whatever. And
Yeah.
so I don't know, it just kind of keeps motivation, perspective.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, just go and look at it some days when you're like a little overwhelmed. And you're like,
Yeah.
oh, this is cute, or you see like what has come to pass. Like I put Beyonce on my vision board,
Mm-hmm.
and I got to go see her.
Yes. I
Oh,
saw her this year.
yes,
She's
I got to see her at the birthday show.
amazing. Yes. Yes. Here.
Yes,
Yes.
powerful. It's powerful. So all that to say, yes, I would teach your masterclass on vision boards because I think they keep you optimistic, they keep you in flow.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of get to track how you change as a person.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it's just a really cool thing to do.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love that we met.
Yes, I miss your
I
girl.
love this time together.
Yes.
And let's just cheers it out.
Cheers. Hold on. Bring it around.
There you go.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on this episode of The Black Retreat. And I will see you next time. Bye.